Good morning. Bit of a Joe Biden moment for me. I've been chatting happily to myself for the last 8 minutes with the video on pause. Oh dear, I should go for the US presidency. I think I'll be well qualified for that. Augsburg, Mönchengladbach, no opinion there yesterday. Galway and Dundalk, no strong opinion there, but if Dundalk scored first, that would have been an opening gambit. But no, Hickey getting the goal before half-time. No, you could play your over 2.5 goal or over 1.5 goal with these short odds. The inference being that the market expects at least 3 goals. Now, if you can get overs over evens about over 1.5 goals here, 35th minute onwards, take it. Or even 1.8, very good odds. Let that delaying work to get you better odds. If you get that goal before halftime, you are out. Simple as that. Cork City was the strong trade yesterday. If you spotted that, well done. 4th minute opener for Treaty and equaliser for Cork City. Cork City's +1 odds. I was looking on the mobile phone as I was drifting in and out of sleep. Looking on the mobile, Cork City about 1.8 in the +1 market, which I would take. Napoli and Como. Well, we did get an equaliser for Perry, but Napoli are under Antonio Conte. And he's been keeping clean sheets, so you're not going to get a second goal from Como today. What a pity they didn't score first. So you could have been, I think, fairly confident laying that draw second half. Well, talk about confident. It took a penalty to open up Como, and they had to wait for the goal from open play, 86 minutes. So it looked like a very good defensive display from Como. And we know Napoli under Antonio Conte will not be the Napoli of last season. They look far, far more astute defensively. They could be vying for the title again. This is the difference a manager makes. Verona and Venezia. Did Venezia score first? Newly promoted. Could be targetable. Now, are you going to take them on, knowing that this lot beat Napoli at home? Old Underpants United. 2.55. That's the negative. But if you took on Venezia, well done. You'd have been out after 9 minutes if you went match odds about Verona. But, as I say, 2.55 the favourite gives Venezia a chance. Eredivisie, one of our over 2.5 goal leagues. And, boy, did it deliver. Even these 1-1s, it's all dependent on the timing of the first goal. And look at that, 0-0 at half-time, back over 1.5 goals at evens or higher. And a couple of matches yesterday got 1.5 goals at about 3.85. And we still got that second half goal. But we're talking about Saudi Arabia here. I was trying it out in all different leagues yesterday, but the Saudi Arabian leagues, over 0-0 at half-time, you're going to get big odds about over 1.5 goals. 1 goal, we'll take a pen, as long as it's a goal in the back of the net, and you're out. That's what I love about this strategy. But I haven't got to the point yet where I need to manage my position. I haven't had a concerted period of 0-0. That's what we need. So don't forget the Eredivisie. Both teams to score over 2.5 goal accumulator. Leganes and Valencia, you're going to take on a 2.88, the favourite. Indeed, this was pretty much 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. Very rare. This is probably pushing towards the highest odds you're ever going to see about a favourite. Not an outsider, a favourite. Look at this, 2.9 outsider, 2.88 favourite. That's telling you it's a match to really avoid any trading angle. Red card, 0-0, 2.88. Wow. They've just given up, basically. I think it was Friday, 4:59 p.m. Had to come up with the odds. They couldn't. Can't split the teams. So it's a good sign for you traders. Don't play. Simple as that. Don't forget England, and don't forget the Professional Development League. And don't forget Denmark as well. I did point these out for overs yesterday. And look at they delivering solidly throughout. So that's one of our techniques, the leagues. Sunderland and Leeds. I would have been favouring Leeds here, I think, not to lose. Sunderland did get the opener. Premier League 2, again, goal fest. Not so in the Professional Development League yesterday, but you would have got that goal before half-time, I think. 17 minutes. So a 15-minute delay. Back over 2.5 goals after 15-minute delay. Cash out after the first goal before half-time. Or 0-0 at half-time, back over 1.5 goals in the second half if it's evens or higher. It's got to be, really. Should be. So some good stuff yesterday. Finished by Council. Again, I was looking at this from a neutral perspective. Guess what? 0-0 at half-time. Back over 1.5 goals. We get a 48-minute goal. We're out. So I did try it, as I say, with the Saudis yesterday. Al Khalij and Al Khulud. 0-0 at half-time. Back over 1.5 goals. Second half. This is the one about 3.85. 66-minute goal would still get you a profitable trade. Anything below 70th minute, you should be either break-even-ish or eke out a little bit of a profit. There's another one as well, I think. I can't remember. But Al Ta'i. And that would have been a problematic one. Pain in the red card. So that one wouldn't have worked. But this one, 3.85. But as soon as you see a red, if the red comes early enough to get out, I think perhaps. So this is what I need. I need a losing match. I keep picking the ones with goals. I need a losing play. I need a 0-0 so we can look at the negative elements of the strategy. How do we work when it's not working? Palace and Liverpool today. Palace, as you know, famously not scoring that second goal. Nowhere near regularly enough. And if they do, it's a last gasp equaliser at home. Liverpool coming off the back of Champions League and now waiting for an international break. It was the other way round when Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest. So this is going to be another tester for Arnie Pie in the Sky Slot, just to see his credentials, how he copes with his team before an international break and after the fatigue of a possible Champions League performance as well. Arsenal-Southampton, another famous 2-0 for the Arse against Paris Saint-Germain. They're going to eye 2 goals at least today. 1.14 gives you your angles in, doesn't it, from a neutral perspective. Saints are likely to be on a wrong end of, could be 3 goals or more today if Arsenal really click. Brentford and Wolves, got a feeling of a neutral play about it. You see I've starred every single Premier League match today, which means, for me, Premier League looks very readable today. Leicester and Bournemouth suggest overs. Man City and Fulham, you know the drill with Man City, expecting a goal before half-time with a 1.25 shot as well. West Ham and Ipswich. This is a touch of a redemption match about West Ham. They're playing a newly promoted side. Lopetegui having an awful time. Can't buy a win. It's awful. And we've got a touch of drawitis for Ipswich, and that could possibly end today. I would certainly lay any late draw today, but this is certainly worrying for West Ham. You've seen the impact of a manager positively at Napoli, and this is the negative impact of a manager. But to be fair to him, playing Manchester City, then London Derby, Liverpool, London Derby. So an extremely London Derby, and then playing Aston Villa. Extremely tough opening campaign for West Ham. They can only improve once they start meeting the likes of Ipswich. So this for me is a touch of a redemption match about it. We could see the first West Ham win in recent matches. Everton and Newcastle, you never know what you're going to get with Everton. It could take a 2-0 lead. Newcastle's certainly full of goals. So that will be the positive for them today. But surely this Everton pattern cannot continue of scoring 2 and conceding more than 2. And Newcastle very quiet in the EFL, 1.13 favourites there. Very, very quiet indeed. 1-1 against Man City is a warning sign to Everton that Newcastle could keep Everton very quiet. But Everton do have those 2 goals. They can threaten those 2 goals. Both teams to score seems to be a Geordie pattern of late, apart from the EFL Cup, certainly in the Premier League. So we might see goals today, certainly. It's certainly a match to delay with, isn't it, with Everton? Do a little bit of delaying there. Bundesliga looks an over 2.5 goal match today. League today, doesn't it, as well? Bayer Leverkusen. First half goals, 2.5 if you can get that. If we miraculously get a 15-minute delay, get on over 2.5 goals. Probably going to be very skinny still, but it'll be edging up towards evens. We're highly likely to see goals before half-time, of course. I would suspect 2 or 3. Union Berlin and Dortmund. Well, Dortmund coming off the back of that 7-1 win over Celtic. Looks like a tough encounter against Union Berlin, as you can tell by the odds, 2.1 the favourites. So watching brief there for me. Expectation of goals. Similar, Werder Bremen, Freiburg have goals in them, but they're coming off the back of that 3-0 loss against St. Pauli. Werder Bremen, we tend to see goals before half-time. So another good neutral candidate. St. Pauli, as I say, that famous win against Freiburg. Amazing scenes there. They are at home, newly promoted St. Pauli. Tough against Mainz. I don't know how to predict this one. Potential neutral angle, therefore. Italian Serie A. Atalanta and Inter, the odds-on favourites at home, are the most readable matches there. As we know, 1.33 brings with it certain expectations, but a feeling that Torino, haven't they been working defensively of late? I seem to recall some clean sheetery from Torino. Yeah, 1-2 clean sheets, okay. And then suddenly conceding 2 there. That's the Coppa Italia. Don't take that with any interest. But the last 2 matches have been 2-3 defeats. 2-3 defeats, which the manager... Oh, sorry, this was a win. 2-3 defeat, 2-3 win. But this Lazio are an improved side. But still, scoring 2 and not winning. Not going to like that, are they? PSV Eindhoven, of course, another potential for goals. Utrecht can blow hot and cold. They're not as reliable as PSV and Feyenoord from a goals perspective. But having said that, I'm talking out of my rear end, it seems. Both teams scoring and Utrecht winning. And including a really good yardstick like AZ, Alkmaar and Twente. So this, I'm starring. Looks good. So I thought they did have problems in front of goal, but certainly not. Espanyol Mallorca certainly wouldn't be an overs match for me, this one. Defensively led Mallorcan side, always trying to nick that 1-0. Tony Pulis 1-0. Real Madrid, we're looking for 3 or more goals from them today. The other matches, very tough to call, but Las Palmas, we know, are newly promoted. But they are at home today. Celta Vigo certainly can threaten goals. And I did think that Osasuna had been involved in a lot of goal fest matches. Or is that me making an assumption again? Baseless assumption? Well, that stood in mind, didn't it? The 4-2 win against Barca. Wow. But a 0-0 against Valencia. 2-1, 3-1, 2-2. Yes, I was right. They have been involved in overs matches. But you have to flirt with that 0-0 though. 4-0 there. I would go for overs here, I think, with Osasuna. But they can throw in the odd 0-0. We've got second tier leagues as well today. Almeria stand out, odds-on favourite at home, so they get a short list from me as well. Just see how the match progresses from a neutral perspective. Hammarby, 1.38 at home, certainly on the short list. Mjällby, maybe. Superettan, again, this could be a league to target overs. We can't trust the teams to win at odds-on, but we could potentially trust goals to occur. So that would be on my shortlist for over 1.5 goal, over 2.5 goals today. Similarly, the Challenge League, looking at these leagues from a new viewpoint now of a neutral play, would have you interested in leagues you're not that interested in before. Turkish Super League looks a little trickier today. Başakşehir were involved in Europe midweek. Odds on at home. We got 3 odds-ons, but that was a standout odds-on for me. Austrian Bundesliga, Austria Vienna and Wolfsberger will get shortlisted here for normal trading and for the potential for a neutral trade. As I say today, I'm going to try an ambitious project, take on any 0-0 at half-time and see the kind of strike rate and indeed how we manage losing positions, because highly likely we're going to pick up a few if we're not discriminating. Lokomotiv Zagreb in the Croatian HNL1 League get interest, and Rijeka as well. 2 odds-on favourites there today. Probably the Czech League next, Czech 1 League. And we're going to have our usuals, are we? The 2 Prague sides. Well, we've got Dukla Prague, newly promoted. Could be vulnerable. So that could be goals for me today there. Don't have a strong opinion anywhere else, but I like newly promoted Got to get it right. Newly promoted sides, targetable. Well, you saw it yesterday, didn't you? Goals, goals, goals. Even OB Odense not scoring, but still 3 goals in the match. That would have been a losing play for me, I think, favouring Odense. Got a couple of odds-ons here as well. I might even go down to the second tier. This is a good league for goals, the Danish league. Not for trusting teams, but certainly for goals. English Championship, odds-on favourites will get that initial look from me. I'm not going to research this league. Burnley, been in really good form, likely to convert into goals. Portsmouth, newly promoted, could be vulnerable today. Coventry, don't know much, but 1.8 at home. Sheffield United, not necessarily an over 2.5 goal play. They are, I gave you the call last week, didn't I? The 1-0 Merchants. We got the 1-0 last week. That could be what they're aiming for today. 2 newly relegated sides, though, could ignite goals. We never know. West Brom and Millwall, suggestion of goals here. Millwall do fight, even in defeat. Again, am I making assumptions or just picking up on 1 or 2 matches? They do just tend to go down, but when they ignite, it's really good, isn't it? That was a London derby and a failure to score. So there's a hint against certain teams that they might struggle to score that goal. Cardiff, Luton, West Brom. Coming off the back of 2 consecutive defeats, West Brom. So again, that could infer the increased likelihood of goals. So again, looking at these matches from a wholly different perspective, the neutral element can open up a whole new world, can't it? Lots and lots of odds-on favourites here today in English League One. We didn't barely get one last week, so it looks a more readable league on paper, doesn't it, today? And these lower tiers would be a natural habitat for goals, wouldn't they? It's a lack of quality cannot open up the goals. So again, we've got a lot of odds-on favourites here today in League Two. That's the only way I'm going to be approaching those leagues. But also from a neutral perspective, if the in-play stats tell me as much. Right. Those of you up at midday, you can practice your 2.5 goal, 1.5 goal strategy in the Premier League 2 and the Professional Development League. Not all of them will be overs, but you're in the right ballpark for goals, put it that way. Far prefer that than a Greek Dower defensive league match. Finnish Veikkausliiga again with our newfound neutral element. We saw that yesterday with VPS. I can't trust the odds now that the group has been split into Championship and relegation. You can't really trust these odds as being accurate. So neutral might be the only real avenue in. Not necessarily with this one. This has got a feel of a derby-style match about it. It could be one where they keep each other quiet. 2 of the big boys in Finland. French League 1, you're going to see a defensive reaction from Saint-Etienne to a recent mauling. Oh, look away, please, fans of Steven. And calling your team ass is a bold move. So let's have a look. 8-0 loss to Nice. Newly promoted, potentially vulnerable. You can see Saint-Etienne, or AS, as I like to call them, could be vulnerable in the over 2.5 goal market today. Come on, the AS. Lille against Toulouse. Lille involved in European club competition. 1.7 at home. Rennes and Monaco, 2.5 the favourite. Don't forget, 0-0 might still be in play with this one. French Ligue 2 might have a feel of overs about it. Be certainly watchable today from our newfound neutral perspective. German Bundesliga 2 is on the soccer stats stats list as one of the strongest over 2.5 goal leagues this season. So we'll be certainly looking at that. FC Köln are playing Ulm, newly promoted Ulm. Put together a couple of 3-1 wins recently. So this might not be a gimme for newly relegated FC Köln. But normally when you've got newly relegated playing newly promoted, you've got to be with the newly relegated side, haven't you? The Goats. Ulm coming off the back of a couple of 3-1 wins. And if this doesn't end over 1.5 goals, I will be moving to a monastery, I think. Poison Munster, newly promoted, could be vulnerable. Schalke, desperate need to win. Hertha Berlin, desperate need to win as well. Two sides who should be in the Bundesliga, not the Bundesliga 2. And again, you can have a quick look through. You can see that potentiality for goals in this Bundesliga 2, can't you? So definitely on my shortlist today. Now, if you've got a goals head-on, Greece is probably not the place to go. But we've got AEK Athens, one of the big boys, 1.33. Aris Thessaloniki, 1.48. It's stark contrast to Professional Development League. I would not be heading to the Super League in Greece for over 2.5 goals. I might be proven wrong. Maybe it's a false assumption. Liga Ha'al, Beitar Jerusalem odds on at home. Maccabi Haifa odds on at home. We'll get a view in today. How accurate is the market? Italian Serie B, again. Italy has a reputation for being very defensive. Am I assuming too much that this is unlikely to be a good avenue for 2.5 goals? But for me, I think there's plenty of goals being scored because it's the kind of league you want to get out of. So 0-0s don't help. Looking at the goal difference, 14 scored, 8 conceded in 7 matches. So 22, that's an average of 3 goals a game. So you might want to pick teams in this league. And it's highly likely that the goal differences, or the total goals, let's do it by total goals. That would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? So 18 goals in 7 matches, 19 goals in 7 matches, 21 goals in 7 matches. That's 3 exactly. So that could be an overs league. And we might have stumbled across a way to just find out a good average for individual teams. The goals for and against. Because don't forget, when you're dealing neutrally, it doesn't matter who scores. You want teams who concede and you want teams who score. This, as you can see here, we're talking 20 goals, an average again of nearly 3, 21 and 8. So that could be something for us to think about putting on our roster, the goals for and against, not the goal difference, goal for and against. You want teams, ideally in an overs match, you want teams to concede, you want teams to score. Italy doing nothing else apart from playing football on a Saturday, it seems. Moving down, probably Norway next. And that could be a good neutral league again. Looking at it from a totally different perspective in Norway, Kristiansund and Sandefjord could be an overs league. Again, you can just check these two. Let's try this out. Kristiansund and Sandefjord goal difference. Let's have a look. Now, I think if you click on the actual form lines and then go to the head-to-heads, it will highlight the teams in head-to-heads. Sorry, standings. It'll highlight the teams, and let's have a look. So we're interested in goal difference. 23 matches played, 27 and 36. Let me do a quick bit of Carol Vorderman math. That's 63. 63 and 23. Let's get an average. 63 divided by 23. It's an average of 2.7 goals a game. Wow. Sandefjord, that's 70 goals in 23 matches. Wow. So let's check that out. 70 goals in 23 matches. It's an average of 3 goals a game. So if this ends 0-0, wow, that would not be what we're expecting. And again, this is an awful league to trust favourites in, but it's great, great league for goals, the Obos-Ligaen. And as I say in the live stream today, trying to see whether we can get this 0-0 at half-time, 1.5 goals at evens, working in every single match. We must have a cut-off point as well. Motor Lublin, newly promoted, could be vulnerable today. Rakow, champions a couple of seasons ago, always worthy of following. Whistler Plock, I think they're newly relegated, so well worth following. So Whistler Plock there, this is another Whistler, 1.48. So we've got 3 odds-ons. And again, I would head down to the First Division with my new goals hat on. Portuguese La Liga, this is good for goals. Sporting Lisbon, of course, absolute standout here, but do look out for these matches igniting as well. Let's choose one again. Moreirense, Santa Clara. Let's try the goals difference technique. If they can come up. You've got the over-under here as well. But I like to try the goals difference technique. So Moreirense, again, the best way to do this, you're going to choose the game. You're going to go to the standings here, and it will highlight the 2 teams for you. So Santa Clara, we've got 19 goals in 7 matches. That's heading towards about 2.7 a match. And we've got 20 in 7. That's an average of 3 goals a game. No, only 7 matches played, still a very high average. So that could be over 2.5 goals. Do that for all of these matches. And I'll give you a kind of a figure to work on, an average expectation. So the video is getting a bit late. Let's have a quick look through. Probably Sweden next. But we've got all of the major leagues covered. Live stream at youtube.com/@footballtradingprofits. All of the details in the description for you. SPL today. Strong. Not a strong coupon. The lower tiers in Scotland. Again, we might be able to get a goals play out of these rather than trusting the teams. And it'll open up a whole new selection of leagues, won't it, for you? So that is about that, I think, today. 27 minutes into the video. Live stream, if you head off here to youtube.com. And there's full research for members of footballtradingprofits.com. I don't really want to give you my full research in these videos. It's not fair on members, is it? Absolute in-depth research on all of the major league matches today, giving you the 2.5 goal angles in as well. You can see how in-depth the research is. This is for members only. So I'll see you over here at youtube.com/@footballtradingprofits. If you go to the live section here, you'll see we're awaiting the live chat webinar at 2:30 p.m. UK time today. If you can come along, please do. You'll learn a lot. You might make some money as well. Been in good form this week. 9 hours to go. Have a great day. Members of footballtradingprofits.com and those watching the YouTube video, please come along. It's free today, the live stream from 2:30 p.m. all the way to 5. My main focus and my sole focus is to make you money. So that's what I'm here for. Let's see if we can limit our risk and increase our rewards and really have a good go at this 1.5 goal play today in every match. So that's going to be a fascinating experiment. Have a great day, and I'll see you for a very, very busy Saturday later on.